Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, May 2nd, 2022. Today I'm going to recap the weekend's NBA playoffs games and NHL regular season games. Then I'm going to actually pick Stanley Cup playoff series as well as pick tonight's Stanley Cup playoff games. Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, golf, NASCAR Idol, news and notes, best bet. We're going to fly it right by. We'll start with the NBA playoffs as we've been doing every podcast of late. We will recap the games and look ahead to the games being played tonight. So, Friday night, we had Game 6. Grizzlies over the Timberwolves, 114-106 as Memphis closes out. And we don't have any round 1 Game 7s. And then we move on to yesterday. And by the way, Desmond Bane led the way for Memphis on Friday night with 23 points. Anthony Edwards had 30 for Minnesota with 5 assists. And then Sunday, Bucks over the Celtics, 101-89. To take a 1-0 series lead. Drew Holiday, 25 points lead the way for the Bucks, and Jason Tatum, 21 points and 6 assists for Boston. And also, Giannis triple-double in this game. Warriors over the Grizzlies won 17-116 to take a 1-0 series lead. Jordan Poole, 31 points, 8 boards, 9 assists off the bench. Ja Morant, 34 points and 10 assists for Memphis. Now we look at tonight's games. 7:30 TNT of the 76ers and the Heat. My projection is Heat by 8 3/4. Total 2-16 and a 20th. No Joel Embiid. No Kyle Lowry, which is why the line is what it is. And FanDuel has at 7.5 and 8.5. I'm going over. I think there's a possibility of someone like Tyreke Maxey getting hot. Jimmy Butler revenge because he was on the Sixers for a little bit. So, it just locked. For some reason, something must have just happened. And then why that line moved. And then 10 o'clock tonight, you have the Mavericks and the Suns. My projections, Phoenix 9.5, total 217 and 8/10. And it's 5 and 215. I'm laying it with the Suns. The Suns are just way better than Dallas. Luka is the reason why this line is so low. Dallas is a one-man team in reality. They're going to find out in the series. I love Jalen Brunson. He's a nice player, but he can't be the second-best player on the championship team, and neither could Spencer Dinwiddie or Darian Finney-Smith. So, I'm laying the 5 with the Suns, and I'm going to go over in Philly Heat unless if something changes dramatically in this line, which I don't know. All right, now we will recap the weekend's NHL games and then look ahead to tonight's Stanley Cup playoff games, and I'll pick every series as well. Friday night was pretty much the finale in hockey from a regular season standpoint. Sabres over the Blackhawks 3-2 in overtime. Maple Leafs over the Bruins 5-2. Canadiens over the Panthers 10-2. Red Wings over the Devils 5-3. Rangers over the Capitals 3-2. Sens over the Flyers 4-2. Pens over the Blue Jackets 5-3. Lightning over the Isles 6-4. Golden Knights over the Blues 7-4. Wild over the Avs 4-1. Jets over the Flames 3-1. Stars over the Ducks 4-2. Oilers over the Canucks 3-2 in a shootout. Kraken over the Sharks 3-0. And the Coyotes over the Predators 5-4. In a meaningless game yesterday with the Jets beating the Kraken 4-3. There are no games on Saturday. All right, tonight, 7 o'clock, ESPN, you have Bruins Hurricanes, Game 1. Looks like nothing changed in the Philly-Miami game, by the way. I think it may be the total. Went up to 8.5. I still like the over. So, Canes are minus 126. Boston plus 105. Over under 5.5. Minus 10 each way. Boston plus 1.5 is minus 260. Carolina minus 1.5 is plus 210. First playoff game. You know there's going to be some nerves. I'm going to go under 5.5. Because that total seems very low. So, I think I'm going to go under. 7:30 ESPN 2 Lightning Maple Leafs. By the way, the first game is going to be Sean McDonough. And then Lightning Maple Leafs is going to be John Buccigross. Toronto's minus 130. Lightning plus 108. Over under 6.5. Over's minus 115. Under's minus 105. Lightning plus 1.5 is minus 245. Leafs minus 1.5 is plus 198. I'm trying not to give away what I think about each series when I do these picks, but I really like the Lightning to win Game 1 at plus 108. 9:30 ESPN tonight, the Blues and the Wild. The Wild are minus 142. The Blues are plus 118. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Blues plus 1.5 is minus 220. Wild minus 1.5 is plus 180. This is another underdog I like to win game 1 in the Blues. I'm going to take them at plus 118. And last but not least, 10 o'clock ESPN 2, the Kings and the Oilers. This game's going to be called by Gordon Miller. I remember he used to do NBC games. But good on ESPN for picking them up for the playoffs. Minus 205 Edmonton's the favorite. Kings are plus 168. Over under 6.5, minus 110 each way. Kings plus 1.5 is minus 154. Oilers minus 1.5 is plus 128. I don't love the pick, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to take over 6.5 at minus 110. And now I'm going to do the series picks. We'll start in the East, and we'll make our way to the West. So Bruins Hurricanes is the first one we talked about today. Canes won the Metro Division. Boston finished 4th in the Atlantic. Best player in the series, probably Sebastian Aho at this point. But from an experience standpoint, you might say Patrice Bergeron or something like that. But in terms of the series, I'm going to go Canes in 6. And I think that that is a realistic, correct score of the series, which is plus 520. Also, starting tonight in the East, you have the Lightning and the Maple Leafs. Great series in that division. This is a big moment for Toronto. If they don't get past the Lightning, they're getting blown up, I think, or partially blown up. Best player in this series, I'm going to say, might be Andrei Vasilevsky. I believe that he has the experience, and obviously he's the 2-time Cup-winning goalie, which makes some sense. And I'm going to go Lightning in 6 for the series. The Lightning are just built for the postseason. I think they're the team to beat in the East. Until otherwise, Nikita Kucherov shines in the playoffs. Tampa 4-2 is plus 440. And that is the co-favorite outcome along with Maple Leafs in 7, amazingly enough. Tomorrow starts Rangers-Penguins. No Tristan Jarry to start the series for Pittsburgh, which some may look at as a big deal. Others will say, I don't know, because Jarry's had a shaky playoff history. Casey DeSmith, perceived as a not great backup goalie, but had some moments this season. The Tristan Jarry thing does not change my pick of the series, because I think that this Penguins team has a lot of pride. Sidney Crosby could be the best guy in the series, but the best guy in the series, I think, is going to be Igor Shesterkin, the goaltender of the New York Rangers. I'm going to go with the Rangers in 6. I know the lack of experience is going to potentially hurt the Rangers in a later round, but there's guys that have had experience, like Panarin with Chicago and Columbus, Kreider, obviously, because he was on those good Ranger teams with Henrik Lundqvist. So there's a little experience there, but Pittsburgh has a ton of experience. They won a couple cups over the last decade. The favorite outcome in the series, by the way, is Pittsburgh 4-2, which makes 0 sense. And then Rangers 4-3. But I'm going Rangers in 6 at plus 540. I don't get why the Penguins in 6 is the favorite outcome. And the Rangers are slight favorites in this series. And by the way, Toronto's favored against Tampa as well. How is Toronto a bigger favorite than the Rangers in round one? Explain that to me. The Lightning should be favored over Toronto. And in the last series in the East, you have the Capitals and the Panthers, which also starts tomorrow. The Capitals are the biggest underdog in round one, and rightfully so. They could have the best player in the series in Alex Ovechkin. But the best player in the series could also be Alexander Barkov of the Panthers. The Panthers are just rock solid this year. And they have a ton of good players, a lot of talent. Their goaltending can be questionable in the postseason. And because of the regular season dominance and the thought that the Capitals just aren't as good as they used to be, I'm going to go series correct score, Panthers 4-1. It's plus 285. It's the favorite outcome of the series, and rightfully so. So I'm going to go Florida Panthers 4-1 at plus 285. And now the West. Starting tonight is Blues Wild. That's going to be a really entertaining series. Best player in the series, I think, will be Kirill Kaprizov. His second time in the postseason. This Blues team, I know, is a couple years removed from the Stanley Cup, so there's an argument to be made that they probably should win the series. Jordan Binghamton against Cam Talbot is very interesting, obviously. So, in terms of that, I'd say it's a wash. Pavel Buchnevich, career year for the Blues. Fantastic trade acquisition for St. Louis, getting him from the Rangers. If the Rangers had him, they probably would be the team to beat in the East, potentially. I think they traded him 1 year too early, but that's another story for another day. But for the pick of the series, and by the way, the Minnesota's minus 148 favorite, the Blues are plus 120. I'm going to go with the underdog Blues. I'm going to go Blues in 7, plus 590. The favorite outcome is Wild in 5 or 6 at plus 470. I'm going to go with the Blues in 7 at plus 590. I just think they're a deeper team than the Wild are. The Wild are really good, but I think the experience for the Blues will help them, and Vlad Tarasenko, big game guy. Oilers-Kings starts tonight. That's an interesting series. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl and company take on the Kings, the up-and-coming Kings, with some veterans that have been there and done that in the postseason. And the been there and done that veterans, I think, is the reason why this series might go a little longer than expected. I'm going to go Edmonton in 6 games at plus 410. The favorite outcome is Edmonton in 5 at plus 360. I'm going to go Edmonton in 6 at plus 410. Avalanche Predators is a really fun series. I think that it's not a cakewalk for Colorado here. Nashville's been there and done that team. Jose Saros has been there and done that goalie. Best player in the series is Nathan McKinnon, obviously. I'm going to go Avalanche in 6. I know the Predators could have some turnover in the offseason. Philip Forsberg, a free agent, but he's a great postseason player. I'm giving Nashville a shot. They're plus 430 to win the series, but they should be better than or less than that to win the series. I'm going to go Colorado Avalanche 4-2 plus 360. The favored outcome is Colorado in 5 at plus 235. But I'm going to go Avalanche in 6 games at plus 360. And then the last series is the Flames and the Stars, which is going to be an interesting series. You're going to have a lot of goals in that series. Best goalie in the series is Jacob Markstrom. Best player in the series is probably Johnny Gaudreau. The Stars team is a couple years removed from the final, so you would think that they're going to play hard in the series and whatnot, and I think they will. I love how they played down the stretch. They're a clutch team. I'm going to go Calgary in 7 for this series. That is plus 410. The favorite outcome, by the way, is Calgary in 5 at plus 310. But I like it at 7. The Stars have that experience from the past, which is going to help them. Jake Ottinger could be that random hot goalie for a couple games, too. Tyler Sagan's been in a ton of big games, so I'm going to go with Flames 4-3 at plus 410. All right, now I'm going to go through the Major League Baseball games from the weekend and look ahead to tonight's games. Friday, Padres over the Pirates 7-3, Marlins over the Mariners 8-6, Red Sox over the Orioles 3-1, Astros over the Blue Jays 11-7, Angels over the White Sox 5-1, Rays over the Twins 6-1, Mets over the Phillies 3-0, Braves over the Rangers 6-3, Brewers over the Cubs 11-1, Yankees over the Royals 12-2 in 8 innings, rain shortened game. D-backs over the Cardinals 6-2, Rockies over the Reds 10-4, Guardians over the A's 9-8, Dodgers over the Tigers 5-1, Nats over the Giants 14-4. Saturday, D-backs over the Cardinals 2-0, Blue Jays over the Astros 2-1, White Sox over the Angels 4-0, Giants over the Nats 9-3, Guardians over the A's 3-1, Twins over the Rays 9-1, Marlins over the Mariners 3-1, Pirates over the Padres 7-6 and 10, Rangers over the Braves 3-1, Orioles over the Red Sox 2-1, Brewers over the Cubs 9-1, Yanks over the Royals 3-0 for the 9th win in a row, Phils over the Mets 4-1, Rockies over the Reds 4-3, and Tigers over the Dodgers 5-1. Sunday, Orioles over the Red Sox 9-5, Orioles 8-14, Boston 9-14. Twins over the Rays 9-3, Twins 13-9, Rays 12-10. Padres over the Pirates 5-2, Padres 15-8, Pirates 9-13. Blue Jays over the Astros 3-2, Blue Jays 15-8, Houston 11-11. Mariners over the Marlins 7-3, Mariners 12-10, Marlins 12-9. Angels over the White Sox 6-5, Angels 15-8, Chicago 8-13. Cubs over the Brewers 2-0, Cubs 9-13, Milwaukee 15-8. Yankees over Royals 6-4. This was their 9th straight win. Their 8th straight win was on Saturday. Yankees 16-6, the only team double digits over 500. KC 7-13. Cardinals over the D-backs 7-5. Cardinals 12-9. D-backs 10-13. Rangers over the Braves 7-3. Rangers 8-14. Atlanta 10-13. Rockies over the Reds 10-1. Rockies 13-9. Cincinnati 3-19. Nats over the Giants 11-5. Nats 8-16. Giants 14-8. Guardians over the Athletics 7-3. Guardians 10-12. A's 10-12. Dodgers over the Tigers 6-3. Dodgers 14-7. Detroit 7-14. And the Mets over the Phillies 10-6. The Mets 16-7. Philly 11-12. All right. Now we look ahead to today's games. Only 8 on the board. 1 o'clock, Royals Cardinals, or 1:15. You have Zach Greinke and Steven Matz. Cardinals minus 166, Royals plus 140, over under 7, overs minus 122, under even money. Royals plus 1.5 is minus 150, Cardinals minus 1.5 is plus 125. Zach Greinke's been pitching great. I'm going to take the Kansas City Royals as a dog to end their little losing streak here. 2 o'clock, Angels White Sox. Patrick Sandoval and Dylan Cease. White Sox minus 126, Angels plus 108, over under 7.5, overs plus 102, unders minus 124. Angels plus 1.5 is minus 196, White Sox minus 1.5 is plus 162. I'm going with the over. 6:30, D-backs Marlins. Zach Gallen and Pablo Lopez. So Zach Gallen against his former team, which is a ton of fun. Marlins minus 162, D-backs plus 136, over under 6.5, overs minus 118, unders minus 104. D-backs plus 1.5 is minus 170, Marlins minus 1.5 is plus 140. I'm going with the D-backs as a road underdog, plus 136 to win outright. 7 o'clock, Twins Orioles. Chris Paddock and Tyler Wells. Twins minus 146, Orioles plus 124, over under 7.5, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Twins minus 1.5 is plus 116, Orioles plus 1.5 is minus 138. I like the over 7.5 at minus 104. Blue Jays Yankees, or Yankees at the Blue Jays. Jordan Montgomery and Ross Stripling. It's a pick of minus 180 each side, over under 8, overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Yankees minus 1.5 is plus 146. Toronto plus 1.5 is minus 178. I think the Yankees winning streak comes to an end tonight. I think Toronto wins minus 108. Toronto should be favored, I think. Braves Mets. Max Fried and Chris Bassett. Mets minus 116, Braves minus 102, over under 6.5, overs minus 114, unders minus 106. Braves -1.5 is +168. Mets +1.5 is -205. I'm going to go with the Braves as a slight road underdog here to win outright. Mariners-Astros. Marco Gonzalez and Jake Odorizzi. Astros -130. Mariners +110. Over under 8.5. -110 each way. Mariners +1.5 is -182. Astros -1.5 is +150. I love the over -110. Love the over. And last but not least, 9:30, Rays Athletics. Second time these two teams are facing off this year. Drew Rasmussen and Dalton Jeffries. Rays -158. A's +134. Over under 7. Overs even money. Unders -122. Rays -1.5 is +114. A's +1.5 is -137. Dalton Jeffries off to a nice start this year. I think Rasmussen is arguably a little bit better. But I'm still going to take Oakland to win at +134 in this game. All right, now I'm going to go over the Major League Soccer results from the weekend. We actually have games on Wednesday, so we'll do that on the Wednesday podcast. Actually, one game. All right, Saturday, Austin over Houston 2-1, Cincinnati over Toronto 2-1, Salt Lake over LA Galaxy 1-0, Montreal over Atlanta 2-1, Columbus over DC United 3-0, New England over Miami 2-0, Orlando over Charlotte 2-1, Red Bulls over Chicago 2-1, Dallas and KC 2-2 draw, Colorado over Portland 2-0. Sunday, NYCFC over San Jose 3-0. ESPN's game was a draw between Nashville and Philly 1-1, and LAFC over Minnesota 2-0. Alrighty, now we'll move on to golf. We had the Mexico Open, or the Mexico Championship, I should say. Your winner with the score of 17 under is John Rahm. I mean, come on. Of course, John Rahm won. Tied for second with 16 under, Tony Finau, Kurt Katayama, and Brandon Wu. Fifth place with 15 under, Davis Riley. Tied for sixth with 14 under, Camp Champ Aaron Weiss, David Lipsky, and Alex Smalley. 10th with 13 under, Patrick Rogers. Tied for 11th with 12 under, Nate Lashley and Martin Trainer. Tied for 13th with 11 under, Chesner V and Grayson Murray. Tied for 15th with 10 under, Sodi Coriara, Lucas Griffin, Jonathan Bird, Peter Malnati, Kelly Craft, Andrew Novak, Anirban Lahiri, Adam Long, and Stefan Jaeger. Now I'm just going to go through notables because I don't have a lot of time here. Tied for 24th with 9 under, Aaron Ray, Mariano Gillick, Gary Woodland. Tied for 29th with 8 under, Sebastian Munoz, Hank Labodia, Jungson Pond. Tied for 33rd with 7 under, Bryce Garnett, Charles Howell III, Grayson Sig, Wesley Bryan, Cam Triangle, Emiliano Grillo, Sam Piercy, Doug Gibb. Tied for 42nd with 6 under, Patrick Reed, Brandon Hagee, Abraham Answer, Kevin Knobb, Brian Stewart, and John Huh. Tied for 51st with 5 under, Lucas Hodges, Max Hubbard, Carlos Ortiz. Tied for 59th with 4 under, Matt Jones and Brendan Haas. Tied for 64th with 2 under, Brendan Todd. 66th with 1 under, Pat Perez. Tied for 67th at even, Wyndham Clark, D.A. Points, Matthew Wallace, Kevin Strillman. And among those cut, J.T. Potson, Sangmo Bay, Max McGreevy, Scott Stallings, Nate Taylor, DJ Tran, Joseph Brumlett, Taylor Moore, Adam Schenk, Dylan Wu, Chris Kirk, Ben Martin, Adam Putnam, Cam Thompson, Emilio Vegas, Adam Cook, Rafa Cabarrabeo, James Hahn, Adam Svensson, Tyler Duncan, Russell Knox, Rory Streb, Richie Werenski, Robert Streb, Vincent Whaley, Dolby Vanderwalt, Danny Lee, Bo Van Pelt, and Vincent Taylor withdrew. All right, NASCAR from the weekend. They raced in Dover. And we'll start with Xfinity. In first place, your winner, Josh Berry. Coming in second was Justin Allgaier. Third, Ty Gibbs. Fourth, Noah Gragson. Fifth, Sam Meyer. Sixth, A.J. Allmendinger. Seventh, Brandon Jones, who was my pick. Eighth, Sheldon Creed. Ninth, Riley Herbst. 10th, Ryan Sieg. The rest, Daniel Hemrick, Landon Castle, Brett Moffitt, Austin Hill, Anthony Alfredo, Jed Burton, Parker Retzlaff, Brandon Brown, Alex Lobb, Ryan Ellis, Chandler Smith, Myatt Snyder, J.J. Yealy, Kaz Gralla, Josh Williams, Ryan Vargas, Kyle Weatherman, Joe Graff Jr., Jeremy Clements, Stephon Parsons, Matt Mills, Chad Fincham, Patrick Emmerling, Mason Massey, David Starr, Bailey Curry, John Hunter Nemechek, and Raja Karuth. And the Cup Series, by the way, got postponed to today. They finished 78 of 400 laps because of rain. Your leader right now is Kyle Larson. Second is Chase Elliott. Third, Ryan Blaney. Fourth, Martin Truex Jr. Fifth, William Byron. Sixth, Chris Bell. Seventh, Eric Almirola. Eighth, Denny Hamlin. Ninth, Alec Bowman. 10th, my pick of Kyle Busch. The rest, Ross Chaston. 12th, Justin Haley. 13th, Chris Boucher. The rest, Brad Keselowski, Daniel Suarez, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kevin Harvick, Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric, Kurt Busch, Eric Jones, Corey LaJoie, Tyler Reddick, Chase Briscoe, AJ Allmendinger, Austin Dillon, Joey Logano, Ryan Preece, Michael McDowell, Cole Custer, Ty Dillon, Harrison Burton, Cody Ware, Todd Gilliland, Josh Bilicki, and BJ McLeod. All right, now I'm going to recap last night's episode of American Idol. It was Disney Week. The contestants went to Disneyland with mentor Derek Huff, and they were each surprised by a friend or a family member during the show, which was awesome. They had a group performance of We Don't Talk About Bruno from Encanto, and performing with them was Asasa and Rennie Feliz, which was really cool from the movie. In terms of the individual performances, Lady K performed How Far Will I Go from Moana. Noah performed You Got a Friend of Me from Toy Story. Emerson Carried Me With You by Onward, or from Onward. Hunter, I See the Light from Tangled. Jay did Remember Me from Coco. Leah did When She Loved Me from Toy Story 2. Nicolina did Poor Unfortunate Souls from Little Mermaid. Mike did You'll Be in My Heart from Tarzan. Christian did Circle of Life from The Lion King. And Fritz did Go to Distance from Hercules. They chose the top 7. There is one decision I disagreed with. Among those safe, Jay, Hunter Girl, Christian, Nicolina, Leah, Fritz, and Noah. And those who went home were Mike, Emerson, and Lady K. I think that Mike was robbed. I thought Mike was the 5th best performer of the evening. He did a good song for him. Noah did a nice, cute song, but I don't know. There's just something, it just didn't feel like Noah to me. I didn't think Noah had that great of a performance. So I think Noah should have went home and Mike should have moved on, because I rank the performances usually, and 6 of my 7 were safe, and the one of the 7 that was not safe was Mike. So tonight on Idol is the 20-year reunion show. So I don't know if we'll see the top 7 of this year or not. It would be cool if they were involved. But apparently a ton of greats from the past, Idol greats I should say, Ruben Studdard, Jordan Sparks, Chris Allen, Lauren Elena, Scotty McCreery, David Cook. So those are a lot of big names, and some of them were winners from the past. I wonder if we'll see Carrie Underwood and Kelly Clarkson. Those are the 2 best winners of all time. the worst winner ever was Taylor Hicks. Maddie Poppy's going to be on tonight's show. She was a winner from the past, but I think she was in the ABC rendition rather than the Fox rendition. And Ryan did hint at a couple surprise guests. I don't know if this is live or not. Hopefully it is live. And I'm going to make a prediction. I'm not going to Google whether it's live or not in case there's surprises spoiled that I personally want to be surprised to see. But if I had a prediction for tonight's show, if it doesn't happen tonight, it'll happen in the finale. Mark my words. Randy, Paul, and Simon will return either for tonight's episode. And if it doesn't happen for tonight's episode, it will happen in the finale. They're the OG judges, my childhood judges. They were wonderful. And also, another surprise on tonight's show will be Justin Gorney. Not Justin Gorney. He was the Morocco Kelly Clarkson. Maybe he'll be on there. But I really think that Brian Dunkelman will be on the show tonight as well. If not tonight, then the finale. So Brian Dunkelman, along with Randy, Paul, and Simon, are my surprise picks to be on tonight's show. If none of them are on tonight's show, then they'll be on the finale in a couple of weeks. I want to do a quick news and notes for today. There's some really big ones that we have to talk about. Joel Embiid's injury is obviously the biggest story. He suffered a orbital fracture and a mild concussion in Game 6. No timetable for his return. That was reported on Friday night. And then NBC Philly reports that surgery is unlikely for Embiid, and they have some hope that he'll return in the series against the Heat. And then Woj reports yesterday afternoon is that he needs to clear concussion protocols and see a doctor midweek on his orbital fracture as Embiid is eyeing a Game 3 or Game 4 return. And, by the way, Heat in 7 is no longer my pick in this series. I'm going to say Heat in 6 to play it safe. I think Embiid will be back at some point. I would not be floored if Philly won a game without Embiid because of the loss of Kyle Lowry for Miami. And there could be a game where James Harden is simply the best player on the court. Don't underestimate, as much for his playoff failures in the past, don't underestimate James Harden. I'm just throwing that out there as a little bit of a wild card for Philly. So I'm going to say Heat in 6 in that series instead. So we'll see if he comes back for Game 3 or not. All right, Zion Williamson would sign an extension, as he says I couldn't sign it fast enough. The Lakers are hiring Quinn Snyder after firing Frank Vogel. The finalists for Sacramento's job: Mark Jackson, Mike Brown, and Steve Clifford. I think Steve Clifford's going to get it. He had success in the past with Charlotte and Orlando even. I think he'll come in there and make them an interesting team again. Mark Jackson was a good coach of the Warriors, but he was kind of overrated because he was a big name. And the fact that Steve Kerr took him to a championship right away was not a good look on Mark Jackson. And then Mike Brown, obviously former Cavs coach and then former Lakers coach as well, had success in the past. The Jets and the Lions made offers for Deebo Samuel, but the 49ers wouldn't engage. N'Keal Harry and Andy Isabella were on the trade block during the draft. Deebo still dug in on trade, as he knows his situation could drag out for a while after interested teams addressed wide receiver need in the draft. The Saints are expected to make an aggressive push to try to sign Honey Badger Tyrann Mathieu in free agency. That would be a good signing for them. The Panthers may still add a veteran quarterback. As they'll kick around the idea of adding either Jimmy G, Baker, or Nick Foles to compete for the starting job. A career minor leaguer, Jason Crizon, got his first big league hit after 11 seasons in the minors, which is pretty cool. Shohei Ohtani left yesterday's game with right groin tightness against the White Sox. We'll see if he goes to the injured list. The Red Wings finally fired Jeff Blashill, and then they fired 2 other coaches. I've been calling for Jeff Blashill's job for a long time. He was not the coach that Mike Babcock was. The favorite for that job on the words on the street is former Jets coach Paul Maurice. Former Pitt wide receiver Jordan Addison is transferring to USC. That's a good pickup for the Trojans. The Kobe Dean's pec strain was an issue, and that's why he fell all the way to Philly. Jamison Williams expects to be healed from his ACL injury by camp, which was great. A major league coach ate 25 cheesesteaks in 4 days, which is a new Phillies visiting clubhouse record. Aaron Rodgers wanted Treylon Burks as the Packers tried to move up to get him in the first round, but the trade never came together. Trevor Bauer suspended 2 years, which is 324 games, for violating Major League Baseball's domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse policy, which is the right call. And I think he's pitched his last game in the big leagues, too. In non-sports news, Naomi Judd passes away at the age of 76. Member of Grammy-winning duo The Judds. Thoughts and prayers to her family in the country music world. Very sad loss this weekend. And Jill Biden is in the city today for a preview of the Met Gala exhibition. Alrighty. Last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. Tough call. I like a lot of baseball underdogs tonight, which is obvious. I alluded to that. I want to go Toronto against the Yankees, but I really can't go against the team that's won 9 games in a row. So I'm going to go to hockey and take one of the playoff games for best bet. I really like the over in the Oiler game at plus 106. Like, Jonathan Quick has turned back the clock recently, but Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, that's a different animal. And plus the Kings could go off against the Oilers goaltending. So I'm going to go over 6.5 between the Oilers and the Kings. First night of the Stanley Cup playoffs, I'll throw my best bet in the hat. Over 6.5 plus 106 between the Kings and the Oilers. So that's it for today's show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping the Stanley Cup and NBA playoff games. Look ahead to tomorrow's games. Major League Baseball. We'll recap the NASCAR race that got rained out. We'll talk about tonight's episode of American Idol. And obviously, news and notes and best bet. Maybe I'll be back tonight with some prospect shows. So keep an eye out for that. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.